Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this awesome and fantastic casting today. My name is Kaka Junito USA and I'm going to be tackling the questions that are asked in the embassy during diversity lottery visa program. And feel free to enjoy, subscribe and like the video as well. I want to talk about the things that will be asked. And so the first thing as we start will be the personal information. And before even I start, I want to say that when it comes to the questions, it depends with the consular, and consular will be asking you these questions randomly. It's not like the same thing that I was asked, you be asked, or somebody else will be asked. So it is gonna be different, but it's good that we tackle all the areas so that you'll be able to know what are the questions that you are going to be expecting, so that you can be ready and you will be ready for your interview even before you go to the interview. So the first thing will be the personal information, and in the personal information, these are some of the questions you're going to expect. First will be like, what's your name? And that's one thing, that's your identification. So what's your name? They may ask you what's your full name, or what's your last name, or what is your middle name. That can be one of the questions that can be asked. Another thing that can be asked is that, what's your date of birth? So if they ask you that, you need to answer that correctly according to what also is in your documents, because remember, you might be having a different date of birth than the one that is in the documentation. And that's why we said it's usually so good that your documents align with each other. All right? Yes. So another thing they can ask you is what is the place of your birth, or where were you born? So that one again, you need to answer correctly according to your documentation. The next thing that they can ask you is your marital status. They'll ask you, are you single, are you married, or what's your marital status? You say, maybe I'm single. If you say you're single, they'll ask you, they can continue and ask you, are you in a relationship that can lead to marriage? Or have you ever been divorced, or something like that? They can ask such a question. So you are supposed to be ready to answer that question correctly, giving the information correctly, depending on your situation at the time. And also remember, they usually get a lot of information, and they do get scrutinizing your accounts as well, like the Facebook account, the Twitter account, the Instagram account. So maybe perhaps you had already, married, posted the pictures on the Instagram or Facebook, and then 3 years later you applied green card and you say you're single, and you don't say maybe you divorced or something, and then they go through your details and they find all those videos and pictures, then it might cost you your visa. All right? So as we said, stay honest, say the right things, and don't hide anything. All right? The other thing will be, we have dealt with the personal information. Those are some of the things that you're going to encounter on the questioning on the personal information. Let's go to the immigration intention. So this is, why are you moving, or why are you migrating, or why are you going to America? So what's your purpose of immigration? So they want to know why you're going there. So one thing that you need to tell them, or one thing that you need to answer if they ask you, why are you going to America? First thing is that you can say is that I'm going to live, stay and work in America. So you can say, I'm going to live, work and even study in America. I'm going to study, live and work in America. All right? So this is a good information, or this is a good answer to that question, because at least they know you're going to be useful, you're going to be important, and you're not going to be a burden to the government, because some people don't want to work. They just want to eat and they want to stay like that. Then they want to get all the grants and everything. So it's going to be a burden. But they need somebody who's going to be, productive, and somebody who's going to be able to cater for their own needs. So that's why we say you're going to study, work, and live in America. All right? Yeah, so that is the answer to that question. So sometimes also you need to understand the visa process and the question, to know more about, approvals and what happens on the green card lottery, right? So then the other thing that they can ask you is employment and education. So on employment and education, this is whereby they can ask you, are you currently employed? What was your job title, or what is your job title? What's the name of your employer? What's the history of your employment? How many years have you worked in that job that you said you're working? All right. And sometimes they can ask you, are you employed? And you say no. It's right. Maybe if you're not employed, you can just say no, and it's not wrong. Don't even try to hide or even lie that you are employed just to impress them, okay? Just say the truth, and the truth will set you free, just as the Bible says, okay? So it's also good to understand what, if you're employed, understand the whatever you're going or whatever you're doing. Because like for me, when I was going for this green card lottery, I remember I was not employed, but I was a self-employed person, because I was doing my job as a painter. I was a contractor, and I was just getting my own job. So I said I was self-employed, and this is what I said, and I indicated where I was working, how and when, and all those things. So even when they were asking me the questions concerning job, the consular asked me if I was still continuing doing my professional painting job, and I said yes, because I had indicated, because those are some of the things that they check, because they have the computer with them, they are checking all the things that you say. So they ask you one question or another, from this one to this one, so that they can see your consistency and you are answering all their questions to determine whether you are lying or whether you're saying the truth. So that's why it's always good to stay, with the right information, the right facts. Okay, so they're gonna ask you about the employment, and if you're not employed, maybe if you're a student, or maybe just completed school, just say that I'm not working. Or maybe if you're self-employed, say I'm employed. Or if you're working, say you're working. All right. So that is everything about employment. So the next thing they can ask you is about your education background. And on this again, I say stick with the truth. Don't say things just to impress or to impress the invigilator or whoever the consular is. Don't try and impress anyone. Just say the truth. If you reach Form 4, that is your high school. If the highest you have is your high school diploma, say I have a high school diploma. I have a high school diploma or high school degree, and that's it. If you've gone to college and you have graduated, say it. I've gone to college, I've graduated on IT. That, and again, just answer the question as asked. So they can ask you, what is your highest education level? If they ask you like that, just say, if it's college, just say college. If it's high school, just say high school. Don't continue saying high school, or maybe say college, I did IT. No. Don't start answering questions that you are not asked, because it might bring problems to you. All right. So just listen carefully and answer accordingly. If they ask you, what did you go to do in college? Now that's when you say IT, or you say nursing. All right. Yes. Another thing that they can ask you is a personal background. For instance, they might ask you, before maybe you were living in Githurai, where were you living before that? That can be a question they can ask you. All right. So always stay with that consistency. Okay. Yes. Because remember, when you're filling your DS260, they ask you some personal background information, where you are living right now, all those kind of things. So they might mix all these questions and ask you. So you don't know who will ask, who will be your consular, and it's good to know all about that. They can also ask you about your family background, just basic information, maybe about your parent, or about your dad, or your sister or brother or something, okay? So it's always good to know your history. It's always good to have your information with you. The other thing they will also ask, or even try to verify, it might be financial stability. This is why, because they need to know that you are able, to fully support yourself in the United States of America, and you're not going to be, a burden. So in this case, if you're doing a DV lottery, mostly they don't require you to have like humongous amount of money for you to be able to be given the green card lottery, but they want to see you that you are able to work, even study, and so that you can also improve yourself. So if you're able to work, and maybe you have skills, then they know you'll be able to support yourself to live in America, and you'll not be a burden in the United States of America. But for those, like for instance, who want EB5 visa, student visas, those ones you have to give like money proofs or assets or those kind of bank statements and these kind of things, because money is required instantly in that application process. Because for instance, for somebody who is coming to study, they need to be paying for their school fees, and for somebody who is coming with an EB5 visa, you're coming to establish a business, and so you need funds to be able to fund your business and run all the organizational duties. So the other thing that they need to do, or the other thing that other questions that will be coming when you're coming to this interview, is also the part of documentation. So there's that what we call the verification of documents. They are going to, you come with your birth certificate, you have your school certificate, you have all these certificates that you have, and you also have your passport. So they are going to confirm this certificate and match and see if everything is matching and is genuine. All right, so this is something else that everybody must go or undergo. The other thing, there are some other potential questions. Of course, remember on the DS260, they are also asking you about your travel history, and it's something that is also can be asked. So you may be asked, have you in the recent maybe 2 years or 1 year or 5 years, have you traveled outside of, let's say in Kenya, have you traveled outside of Kenya? So you're supposed to say yes if you have traveled, and you're supposed to say no if you have not traveled. But also remember, it should align with what you answered in the DS260, and also your passport should be aligning with what you are saying, because you might say no, but in your passport there's a stamp of you going to Dubai, and you say no. Then they're gonna ask you, okay, we can see in 2024 you went to Dubai, so why did you lie? And that can cause you to cancellation. All right? Yes. Another thing, they may ask you if you have ever also, they can ask if you have ever also gone to USA, and if yes, they ask you on which visa, and then if maybe you were deported, they'll ask you why you were deported, or maybe if you just came back, they're gonna just ask you why. All right, so these are some of the things that you need to know, and you need to have the answers. All right, the tips that I'll give you on answering the questions that the interviewer asks is, number 1, be honest. Always provide truthful and straightforward answers. Don't cook your answers. Don't explain too much on your answer. Be honest, be truthful, and straightforward. Okay? The other thing is, be prepared. That's why I say bring your documents, double check your documents, make sure everything is right, and also go through all these questions that can be brought and answer those questions by yourself. That will make it easier for you. Number 3, be professional. So when we say be professional, at least try to be smart. Don't come with sleeping sweatpants and you're coming in an interview, even if this is not like like dress to kill or something, but at least dress appropriately, because again, you are trying to get an opportunity to come to America, and it's always good to look presentable, because one person said that how you dress will tell me how to address you. So dress well, and it will tell me address this guy in a nice way. All right? Yes. So one thing and an NB is that remember, each consular asks questions differently. You might find somebody who doesn't even ask so many questions, will ask like 3 questions and you're done. And there's a consular who will ask you a train of questions. When I say train of questions, that means a lot of questions. Like for me, I was asked so many questions, but I was so ready with the answers. I was wrapping my answers. Even before he finished the question, I knew the answer, because I had waited for this opportunity for a very long time, and I had practiced with myself, asking myself these questions and answering these questions. So those are the questions that single people might be asked, and we have covered all the bases and all the areas that are necessary. It's your boy Kaka Jonito USA. Tell me on the comment section if you need anything else, if you have any other question that you need me to deal with, or if you have any other thing that you want us to discuss about, feel free, ask, and I'll be here to bring these questions. Thank you so much, guys. It's your boy Kaka Jonito USA. I say adios and God bless you. Bye.